All right, so we can practice that intro as many times as we want. I'm probably going to screw it up, but how's it going, League? Jay here from the WPL Commish, manager of the Charizard number 6. Here with Slick36, manager of the Amarillo Patrats. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Probably a lot colder than you are up here in Canada. It is warmer normally, more so than you guys think down in the States. You probably think we live in igloos and have polar bears walking around most of the time. We do not. But I imagine it's pretty warm over there.
I think it's like 80 today here in Dallas. So
this interview's over.
A little warm.
This interview's over. Screw you and your warm weather. Oh my god. All right. No, that's pretty cool, man. I wish I hear Texas is really nice. So we are not going to get into the election. I don't want to bring that into this league, but I'm sure everybody has their opinions on that. So the reason I had you on is I want to ask you the perfect guy to have on right now, just because the two finalists, Sao Paulo Excadrilles, aka Vitor, and Honolulu Pukumakus, oh my god, I said that right this time, also known as Octo, which not many people know his name, Octo or Hano or however he wants to be called, but I know him from a different server, so he is Octo, manager of the Honolulu Pukumakus. I did it again. Awesome. All right, so you played them twice. You played Honolulu twice, Vitor once, but we'll get into that. But I wanted to know, first of all, this is your first year in the league as everybody else's. How has it been so far? Your playoff team, your experience so far?
In the whole league?
Yeah.
It's been awesome, honestly. I have been watching, kind of had my eye on draft leagues. I only recently got into VGC, and I started looking at the draft leagues, and we're just thinking, like, that's the perfect format. It really highlights the obscure stuff that are cool, but just don't have the place to shine. And they, I don't know. It's a great format, so I've been really wanting to get into it and try it out. And this league ended up being perfect. It's a good mix of more casual players and some hardcore players.
Oh yeah.
So no one seems to be. It's been a good balance. And for me, I went into this entirely like as a learning experience, just hoping to have a little more understanding going into the next season. And my performance has been better than I expected, but I think I have to give credit to my draft for that.
Yeah.
I got really lucky with my Trick Room team. It just ended up being really solid.
I don't think luck had anything to do with it, man.
What was that?
I don't think luck had anything to do with it, man. You had a good team. You kind of, it's almost like you're like misleading us all. like you're like this ringer, and like man, it's my first year. No. Your draft looks pretty good. You got a hard Trick Room. You had some strong options in your Conkeldurr, your Dragalge, your Hatterene, your Volcarona, and you had some setup with your Rabombi, your Liepard, Kofagrigus, even a Fungus in your F tier was a decent pick as well. So good on you and a good draft.
Thank you.
Yeah, man. So basically, yeah. So just to kind of go along with what you were saying is, I was interested in Draft League as well, man. It's funny, I didn't even make the league, I wouldn't have made the league if I found a league to be in. I was looking for a league to play in because I'm like, this sounds cool. I was watching WBE and things like that, and I thought it was pretty cool. And I was like, let me just try it. I'm sure there's other leagues out there. Believe it or not, I had a hard time finding one. Either leagues were already started, or they already had too many players, and they're like, we'll let you know if somebody drops out. I'm like, well, no, I'm not doing that.
Right.
I didn't realize how much I would enjoy running it, but I'm enjoying it as a player and as a commissioner as well. So I'm like a player kind of runner, player commissioner, and it's both are enjoyable. So I wanted to ask you, because you played these guys, and I'm sorry to hear that, because your first match of the entire season, of the WPL was against the number 1 seed, which we did not know at the time. You also played him in the semis. You also got lucky enough to play him in the semis. But no matter what, you either would have played Honolulu or the Excadrilles. No matter what you would have done in this round, you would have faced one or the other. So, yeah, I guess you got Honolulu. So how was that experience early in the season, and how was that experience in the playoffs? Did you prep differently? You know, like what were your first impressions of his team?
So it was a blessing and a curse to go up against Octo first match.
Yeah.
I had seen him talk about Bolton, and
he loves his Bolton.
Pokemon I never gave a second thought to.
Yeah.
And the way he just he broke him down, opened my eyes, and I thought, oh, that's a threat.
Yeah.
And massively physical attacking, it's all physical attackers except for Gardevoir, and I guess Butterfree, but again, Butterfree I wasn't too worried about. I thought, it's more of a utility. The more I looked into it, being a Trick Room team, a lot of ways to set up Trick Room. That was kind of my philosophy, was to I do Trick Room every week, but how do I set it up? That's how I keep my opponents guessing. But
yeah,
he had a million answers to it, and so it made me hesitate. And the more I thought about it, the more unsure I was. And of course, we had to play late in the week on that week. So basically, the longer I waited, the more I got in my own head. By the time the game came up, I was a nervous wreck and second guessed every single move I made. And I got away with it for a couple games. First game he got me, but I was warming up. Second game I think he scouted me a little bit. I think he kind of took his foot off the gas and was just seeing what I had. And from there, game 3, I under the Digger's beat, and it was a one-turn game. I was done. It was the only time in the season that I truly can say I rage quit. That it ruined my whole day. But it was awesome, too, at the same time, because it was so good. The way he just... It was like I felt like I always had a shot, but at the same time, it was never close.
Well, and that's...
So,
it
was cool.
The thing about...
It was scary, too, though, because it was first game of the season, so I thought...
Here we go.
Oh, I'm sorry. But it was the first game of the season, so I thought, is every team going to be like this? Luckily, it wasn't. It just turned out Honolulu was an amazing player. Yeah, and
I don't know what I would have done if I got smashed in the first week. I would have been like, what have I done? Here we go kind of thing. But you know what? I think you did all right. Like it says here, didn't you take him to a game 3? Yeah, you did. You took him to a game 3 in the first week. You got 4-0'd and 3-0'd. But you did take a game. A few other guys can't say that. But
I think I may have lost you.
Oh yeah, I think you were in and out. But can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? You know what? Just
Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here. Jump off the video, just for a second. Let's just fix this quick.
There we go.
Yeah, jump off the video. I'm just gonna eliminate this window capture. We tried it. Didn't work. It's all good. There you go. I still got your audio, right?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, you were cutting in and out there for a second. Sorry about that.
Yeah, turn off your camera really quick, just so I can just get your audio.
Okay.
Yeah, there we go. That might actually help. All right. Because I care more about what you have to say than how you look. So, you still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, cool. All right. So, but yeah, man. So if I was facing them first, one of those two guys first round, and I got dusted out, I would assume naturally that the rest of the league would be like that too. But you know, it's good to know you face the best. So you had a little bit of a measuring stick. I don't think you had the privilege of facing me, but we did enough practice matches. So, But yeah, man. So you played both of them. So that was the first matchup. So how did you feel when you drew him in the semifinals? So it's almost like you knew you were going to face him eventually. But what was your take going into the finals? Were you more confident? Were you less confident? Was that in the back of your mind that you got beaten the first week, or how did that go?
Well, so it's hard to say. So game 3 in that first set, he smoked me. But at the same time, I thought if I had just charmed that Diggersby, or I just protected on the Conkeldurr, it would have been completely different. I could have easily beaten him, possibly. In my head, I could have beaten him. So it was weird. I had a lot more respect for him going into that second game, but I also knew that I had a shot, especially after clawing my way into the playoffs. I felt like I did have a chance of upsetting him.
That would have been cool.
But I knew I had to relax a bit more, so I didn't do as much prep. I had a few game plans, and that kind of cost me in the end, though, because I put off prep in a way that my game plan was to speed swap with Rabambi onto Dragalge. And I made a horrible mistake and left off Sludge Bomb, which I don't know what I was thinking. That was an incredibly important move to have.
That happens,
if I'm going to Dynamax Dragalge. So it meant I had to rest on my laurels a bit and use the team that got me to that position.
Yeah. Which
I knew he would know inside and out, and he'd already beaten once. So, yeah, it didn't work out for me. I had some bad rolls, I feel, in that first game, and I didn't expect the ally switch. The controversial ally switch.
No one ever expects
at all.
No one expects the ally switch.
I could have used it on my Kafagrigus, but it never felt right to me. But I knew that would come to haunt me eventually. That was going to be something I would lose to. The thing is, though, is Honolulu. It's not something he relies on. It's the only time I've ever seen him use it.
Yeah, he doesn't seem to lean on it.
It was perfect timing. It was a skillful play, and my hat was off to it. It was a good play, and that got him enough momentum. And that's the thing with Honolulu is momentum. He basically keeps you guessing, and when you hesitate, he can immediately swarm you with some hard-hitting things like Berserker.
Oh my
gosh, Berserker.
Oh my god.
It's such a monster.
Your poor Hatterene.
Yeah. Or something like Diggersby. I mean, I've heard the Diggersby mean Diggersby, though, but I never really gave it the respect it deserved until it just flattened me.
Yeah, that huge power ability.
It makes every move in the future harder to make.
Yeah.
Because you're afraid to make that one mistake. Any one little mistake costs you the game. I would compare it to the mixed martial artist Ryota Mochida. He's a karate fighter, and he does a lot of feints. He barely throws a strike, but he throws feint. He does feints. It does like a fake strike, basically.
Yeah.
To make you... It's like a magic trick where
you're
looking up at his hands, and then a foot comes down the center and hits you in the face out of nowhere, and it's over in an instant.
I remember that knockout, by the way.
Yeah. It's just the second you think you're safe, the game is over. And so there's an anxiety that builds up facing Honolulu that I didn't have with any other players.
Yeah, and you know what? I don't think Vitor would really have a problem with that. I think these guys, the intimidation factor is there when you face a guy that's 7-1, steamrolls the league, has the kill death that they do, and has the success they've had in the year, both teams, Vitor and Octo. But I just find that after talking to both of them about how they feel about going into it, I've been talking to them both throughout the year, I find like they're not really scared. They're not really intimidated by one another. They're more so looking forward to it. It's almost like a fun challenge, and that's not even like a typical sports interview answer. You know, it wasn't an interview. It was just me talking to them, but like, it just seems like they're like, wow, this challenge is actually going to be good. You hear that a lot, cliche in interviews, but like, yeah, Octo was just like, this is going to be so much fun. I can't wait to play this guy. And I lost the first time facing him. You know, I feel like I could have done it differently. You know, he played really well, but I want to play him again. And Vitor was the same. He's like, hey, I'm looking forward to this. I think even when he played Psych, he's just like, yeah, I think I've got him, but, you know, it should be fun. I prepped. And that's another thing, too. Those guys prep so well. Mm-hmm. They prep so well. Vitor spends a lot of time doing his own stuff, as you can see in the chat, with his schooling and certain projects and stuff like that. And he doesn't really play Pokemon at this moment in another format except this one. So it's almost like it's scary because he puts all of his effort from Pokemon into this league. And it's kind of scary. He drafted really well. He's got, and he just makes the right moves. You can just tell with the switch-ins. You can tell with the leads. You can tell with who he brings to each match. It just seems like he has an answer for everything, just like these top players do in the tournaments, like Players Cup, Wolfie, Cybertron, all those guys, right? Same thing with Honolulu, man. His switch-ins are just like, it just seems like I was watching a match earlier today just to kind of prep for this video, and it was, I wanted to look at the match, what was it? I think that he went 2-1. Let me just see if I can bring it up. It was the one against Psych. And yeah, it's just, I wanted, he actually took game 1. Psych took game 1. And I'm like, wow, that's probably one of the first times he was, you know, taken advantage of early and then kind of had to weasel his way back. But I just remember in the chat on the side, that they were having during the match, because Psych is really vocal in his matches, right? He says, oh, I wasn't expecting that, or whatever. And there was one point where it just kind of like is a perfect example of how Octo's season has gone, is he said, man, how are you reading all of my protects? And I'm like, you know what? He's just good, you know? Like, and I think you and I, in match prep that you and I have done this year, I remember saying to you a couple times, it's like, it's almost like a rock, paper, scissors. Well, okay, so let me prep. If I pick rock, well, he could pick paper. Okay, well, I'll pick scissors. Well, then he might pick rock. Okay, well, then I'll pick paper. You know what I mean? It's like there's an answer for everything that the other guy can do. So it's almost like you have to go in with your best 6, a couple different ways to deal with what you think he's going to bring and hope for the best. But it just seems like these guys prep so well. They just have an answer for everything you're going to bring, right? So let's go into Vitor. We were talking about Honolulu a bit, or Octo. Do you remember your match from Vitor?
Yeah, well, so I mean, like, with what you were saying earlier, I have to go back to that, about their prep. You know, it's obvious in their teams. They're so precise, or that, I mean, especially in Honolulu's case, but the choices are so purposeful, and there's a lot of thought put into each and everything. They have great synergy together. Like, I mean, it's pretty obvious. I mean, that their prep and their skill are just top level. So it's no wonder that these guys have been top 2 of the whole season and are in the finals together. So
yeah.
But going into, like, so if I if I had to describe Honolulu's team, it would be controlled chaos.
Okay.
Where you never know what it's going to do, and then he knows, it seems.
I hope he knows.
With Vitor, it's just pure control. Everything is incredibly efficient and like precise. It's like he basically dissects you, and it's miserable to play against.
Yeah.
That Klefki, oh my gosh, like. It feels unbeatable at times. And part of that, too, is just because he understands his synergy so well in terms of, I mean, like, Corviknight, Primarina, Raichu.
Yeah.
3 tops. I mean, it's hard to even break through. And then when you throw Klefki in the mix, it's scary. And Arcanine, there's so much defense. By the time you even can figure out how to hurt anything on the field, he's already knocked out 2 of your Pokemon. And he's already taken away your answers. So it's just that defense. It's so scary. Between Klefki setting up the screens, Arcanine hitting Intimidates, and Raichu with its charm.
Oh, screw that charm.
Outs.
Screw that charm. Oh my god. I actually just realized this, and I didn't realize this at all until just now. As soon as you said Klefki reminded me that I played Vitor week 3. And we didn't talk about that before this video started when we were chatting. I completely forgot. I took Vitor to a game 3.
It was close, too.
And I brought him down to his Klefki. And I had 2 Pokemon left against his Klefki. He dazzling gleamed me and knocked them both out. So, screw that Klefki.
I actually wrote that down in my notes to talk about because that game really stood out. That Klefki just had so much control, and then in the end, when it was 2-on-1, and it looked like you were going to smoke him, you had an Urshifu, and it's just like Urshifu versus a prankster utility. This should be
it should be over.
This should be easy, and not at all. He smoked you with just that Klefki alone.
No, tell me more about how he smoked me. No, let's get into that. No, let's talk about. You should use words like embarrassed. Say, hey, we have an extra spot open for season 2, by the way. No, but I do remember that match, and you know what? I didn't make the playoffs. This isn't about me at all. But you know what? By the fact
I have to say, you are a much better player than it showed in the season. It was just that draft, that your strategy, I feel, on the draft was just
one-dimensional,
a little too predictable. But in terms of your prep and everything, you have a great mind for it. So next season, I think it's going to be a much different picture, and that I think the game with Vitor really shows just how good you are.
Oh, thanks, man.
Because that was a hair away.
Yeah, it was really close. It was actually a lot of fun. I remember facing him, and I was just like, man, I could have dethroned this guy. What was he? It was week 3, and I think he was probably 2-0 at the time, or something like that. Yeah, he was 2-0. His first 2 matches, how did he do? He 2-0'd both of his first opponents, Yizzle and Decidueye. So, okay, Yizzle, now that I look, week 1, he 4-0'd him 2 times. So
yeah, I'm not surprised.
How's that for starting the season? Hey, let me make a name for myself in this season, and you 4-0 a guy twice. You didn't get a 4-0 the rest of the season, now that I see. But hey, man, you know what? I will take the praise when I can get it. This season, I think I could have played better, but hey, I led the league in 2-0 wins. I did. I definitely did. I think I led the league in deaths as well, so that's saying a lot as well. So, Vitor. So we talked a bit about Vitor last video with Justin, Flip Flop Fletchlings. We talked a bit about with you too. But what leads can we expect in this finals match? Let's talk about Vitor's team first. So Vitor, clearly you've got your Primarina Raichu. I think he led Kangaskhan. Who did he lead? Kangaskhan. I don't remember. He didn't even bring Togepi. He brought him out of the 6, but he didn't use them. But yeah, I noticed he put Drapion in the back, which is pretty nuts when it's got its scope lens with his sniper ability. I know that can hurt. Haxorus. I mentioned this in the last video. I think Haxorus is going to make a comeback in this match. It is just way too strong.
Yeah, I think Klefki is going to be his key to victory again, honestly.
He's with screens or taunt or something, or what do you think he's got up his sleeve?
I mean, it does everything. It has a million different tools at its disposal, and that's kind of what makes it so good, is you don't know what it's going to do.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to get an offensive one. You have to
take it out right away, but he has backup. Everything has an answer, or everything has support. I think that's what's been so impressive about Vitor's teams is just everything always has a backup. It's a solid foundation, and Klefki is sort of the biggest pillar of that.
Yeah, Klefki, you could make an argument that he was his MVP of the number 2 team in the league because it only died in half its matches. It got 3 kills. 2 of them were against me in one turn. But you know what I mean? Like, it's a set of Pokemon. He's meant to go in, set up screens, and die. Or go in, taunt somebody, set up a screen, and die. Maybe get off a Dazzling Gleam if the matchup's right or something. But he definitely used them really well. So if I were Honolulu Octo, I'd be bringing a Brick Break. Maybe lead with a Brick Break. You know, hopefully he sets up a screen and you Brick Break them off, and then Oko the other Pokemon or something. Because I know a lot of screen setters. In actually my team right now, my Series 7 team, I've got screens on my Tapu Lele. Yeah, my Tapu Lele, I've got screens, and I rely heavily on it. So I'll keep his partner in if I know I'm going to get a screen up, because I know my partner will survive it. So if the guy sets up a screen and I'm like, whatever, I'll just Brick Break it turn 1, and my second attacker, the slower Pokemon, will Oko whatever it hits. And that would decimate your first turn and probably give you a loss. So I can see maybe that coming out. Alolan Exeggutor is a Trick Room setter, and it's a Dragon type as well. I don't know how much Fairy Honolulu has on his team, if I just have a quick look. I think we might have been looking at that yesterday as well. But Gardevoir, Bewear's gone. Yeah, he picked up someone else as well. Oh yeah, he picked up Persian. Yeah, that's actually not on this list. I think it's on my playoff list right now. But yeah, he got Persian, Kanto Persian. He's got Fake Out. It might get Parting Shot. I forget. Snarl. I can see that maybe being a part of it. And he also grabbed, let's not forget, he grabbed that rock dog. What's his name? Lycanroc. He grabbed Lycanroc. I think just before your match, I think it was, right?
The Lycanroc Dust?
Yeah, I think did he bring it to your match?
Yeah, he picked that up. I just don't see how he brings it into this match against the top threats. I think it's just a little too soft. It doesn't hit quite hard enough to take out any of the things that gave him a lot of problems.
Well, I am looking. So Lycanroc does get its unique move in Accelerock. So I'm just trying to look here. Like, is Mamoswine, is it weak to rock? Could you proc a weakness policy or something like that? Or Darmanitan is fire, so you might be able to get one of those off. That might be something that he could throw out there as well. Crustle actually, Crustle's bug, so that's another option as well. So you could have a couple. I
seem to be a fan of that Crustle too.
It's sneaky.
I think he's itching to use that Crustle.
It's sneaky. A shell. You could run Shell Smash. You can run Setup. You could. I don't know if you can run Setup. I think you can run maybe a Bulk Up or Work Up or something like that. But Shell Smash, White Herb. You could run. And it might have the what's it called? The Sturdy ability on as well, so you can't Oko it. Like it's immune to Sandstorm damage. So you know what? Like I think there's a lot of different strategies. Like Mamoswine is I actually ran Mamoswine Bolton in my first Series 7 team, and it wrecked. It absolutely wrecked. Bolton goes in, gave it a Choice Scarf, and I just ran Electrify over and over and over on whatever I thought was going to hit that Mamoswine, and it worked. It just turned every move to electric, and it was just not effective, or no, unaffected, over and over and over. And meanwhile, Mamoswine is already Dynamaxed and has already just absolutely decimated their team with a Life Orb. So that's another option as well. Berserker, does Vitor have an answer for Berserker? I'm not sure. I don't see one.
He could Charm, possibly.
He's did that Arcanine. To me. Yeah.
He can. It's a lot. I think the key of like this match is going to be timing.
Yeah.
And just reading the leads and having the right backup. I mean, that sounds so obvious, but it's not going to come down to one Pokemon.
No.
It's going to come out to when that Pokemon comes out.
This is definitely going to a game 3. I think the first match that they had in the regular season in Week 7, I think it definitely could have gone either way. I think
it was closer than it came off on paper.
Yeah,
for sure. I feel like one of the things that threw me off was the Dusclops and the Butterfree.
Yeah,
and I think it might have just been the Butterfree wouldn't die.
It never dies.
Probably smart play by. I mean, I think he needed it to die in that turn, though. I think he was trying to bring his hitters in the back, and Butterfree was just there to ensure that the Trick Room went off.
Yeah.
And it was really to the detriment of the Dusclops because it allowed Vitor to just kind of whittle down and stall out that Trick Room and take away momentum from Octo.
Mm-hmm.
So the second game was a lot closer too, and it might have been a 2-0 game or a 2-0 set, but that could have easily gone the other way. In fact, I came off at the end of that thinking that if that was a best of 5 set, I think Honolulu probably would have had that. That's my opinion. And it's nothing against Vitor at all.
Yeah, of course not.
He's clearly an amazing player.
Yeah. So does that mean
he could definitely win again?
So I'm going to get this out of you.
Doubt it.
Does this mean that Honolulu or Octo is your favorite to win the finals?
Ooh, that's such a tough one.
It's hard to pick one, but I'm making you pick.
My heart does say Honolulu.
Yeah.
But the thing is like I talked about with what makes Vitor so good is everything is so controlled.
Yeah.
And it's hard. It's really hard. It's an uphill battle to beat a player like that.
Yeah.
Because they have the answers. They're ready for it. They're prepared. And for Honolulu, if he's trying to take you off guard, I think he relies a lot on that, and that's almost impossible to do with Vitor. It's like the Magnet Rise, you know.
No, I've been
Magnet Rise Clef Key.
I've been promoting that like crazy. It was pretty
my
cool.
favorite play of the whole season.
Yeah, it was.
Who would have ever thought Magnet Play would be or Magnet Rise would be such a crazy play? You know.
It's funny he brought it for
exciting play.
He brought it for that exact situation, and it worked, right?
Yeah. So I mean, the thing is like Vitor probably takes it, but I think Honolulu really has a good shot at this.
So who are you picking?
Oh man. Ooh.
No one's gonna hate you.
I hope Honolulu wins, but I look forward to rematches between these two. I don't want this to be the last match between them. But I'm going with Honolulu.
Oh, okay. So I thought you said Vitor before, and now you're saying Honolulu. So final answer, Honolulu is taking it for you?
I'm going to say I'm cheering for Honolulu.
Okay. All right. So you don't like kids. Yeah. All right. That's cool. Whatever. All right. My pick. We're coming on the end of the video. We've already gone on a little longer than we wanted to go. But if I were going to pick, I think both teams are great. I think they both have solid. They're both. You know what? Let's take teams. Just put them aside right now. Player. I think they're both equal. They're both. I've seen them both make very surprising plays, very big brain plays. I think that they both know their teams very, very well. Pretty much no matter what they do, their team building is really good too. You could just kind of see how their prep, and the prep that the best teams have usually seem to be the longest prep time. And after talking with Honolulu a bit, his prep time's crazy. I thought mine was crazy. I showed a couple of guys the sheets and the prep that I do and the videos that I watch. So, but as for the teams, I would give a tie to the players, the actual managers, and how they play. I think what it's going to come down to is the team. I know that Honolulu drafted his team based on the Pokemon he likes. Not many people like Dusclops. You know, they use it because the Eviolite and the Bulk, right? And the Trick Room. He's the best Trick Room set.
I love that.
It's a great pick. But after talking to him a little bit, he did pick the Pokemon that he liked mostly. Wishy-Washy and things like that, and he just used them. It just shows that any Pokemon can win, right? It comes down to the players. So I think what it comes down to is the team, and unfortunately, I love you, Octo, very, very much. But unfortunately, I believe that Vitor has the better team on paper, which means that I am going to choose Vitor to win the finals this year. Mostly because I want you to come back next year to redeem yourself. So, but yeah, that's my pick. Hey, in the chat, either in YouTube or in the general chat, everybody give your predictions. I might throw a couple of surveys on there as well, just to kind of get everyone involved because we're at the end of the year. Only 2 guys are playing, but it is a full league, and I kind of want to see everybody involved, which a lot of you have. Thank you. Slick, thank you very much for joining me. I think this has been great. It's been a lot of fun. A little technical issues earlier in the video, but I think I just learned the capabilities of my laptop more so that videos are having a hard time. So we might just do audio as it's gotten much better. So thank you. Thank you for your match input.